The Inn at the End of Things is an Acorn Arts and Entertainment podcast, independently produced by a small group of creators in Southeast Michigan. Since we run the show ad-free, we rely entirely on support from listeners like you to keep the inn's hearthfire burning through the night. You can support us and receive bonus content with a one-time donation at www.acornartsandentertainment.com/the inn, or by joining the Hall of Patrons within our Patreon community. Even the price of a cup of coffee goes a long way to keeping the lights on for our little inn. As folktale enthusiasts instead of academics, this is your friendly reminder that our folk and fairy tales come from the older, grimmer end of the woods, and can contain material not suitable for all audiences, so listener discretion is advised. And recommended for your 5-star stay with us, the inn is best experienced somewhere cozy with a good blanket, rather than while driving or operating heavy equipment. Thanks so much for your support, and welcome. Well met, Pilgrim, and welcome back. A sharp chill in the air tonight, and a fierce wind it was that blew you onto our doorstep, here at the Inn at the End of Things. Come in, head right over to that fire. Get your feet right up on the warming bar. That's it. Not too many travelers out and about, as you can see. Everyone's hunkering down and hunkering in. Still, the wind will no doubt drive another wandering wisp or two in through those doors before the night is through. Well, young wisp, let's have a look at you. Bet wiser since last time we saw you. More fools you, eh? Come on, off with your things. You're dripping all over the rug. And you might as well have a sup of this while you're at it. Good night for hot chocolate. Of course that's whipped marshmallow on top. We don't do things by halves here. Besides, you came in on a laundry day, so we're all keeping nice and warm. Nothing better than chocolate to help with folding. Mind your head, or you'll end up with someone's bloomers for a hat. Nothing's hanging outside tonight, unless you want to find it half frozen to a tree somewhere in the Siberian Circle tomorrow. Well, there is never an end to washing hand towels at an inn. You shake 'em out, I'll fold 'em. No, I insist. It'll go faster that way, and they're freshly warm from the drying room. Arlen just sent them out. Good luck keeping up. You just move those 2 cloaks drying on that armchair and get yourself nice and comfy. Had my hands full scrubbing a few nasty habits out of those cloaks, I'll tell you. Tough buggers to get out. Nearly stained the tub with their stubbornness. But we got them nicely sorted and fluffed, didn't we? They're nearly dry. Won't be bothering anyone else anymore. See, now your fingers remember they have life in them again. And we do keep a soft towel here. Nothing worse than a thin, scratchy towel after a long day. And I know Arlen, our laundress, would never allow it. So, Pilgrim, what brings you back to our little neck of the woods? What did you pick up today? And what did you give away? I see. And that's a lot to carry. Everything and nothing all at the same time. Well, what a fine time to plunge your hands into a warm basket of fluffy, soft towels for a moment. There's no rush, just warm, soft plush to keep your hands cozy for now. Let it out through your fists. Sounds like they're about due for a good clench. And we'll breathe in, while you get them all balled up into little wee fists. And release out. Letting your fingers straighten and your palms flex back out. And in again, in again, in again. And we're squeezing our fists back. And we're holding and clenching our little murder mitts. And it's a lot, it's a lot, it's a lot, it's a lot. And out again. And flexing and letting our fingers seek out their strength. And it's so little, so little, so little, so little. And now we let it go. And we let the hands relax. Feel the tingling running through them. And let it all go. Go ahead. Gather your hands gently together. Hold them for a moment. Let them know how grateful you are to them for holding it all together. You know, now that I think on it, I've got a better task for you than folding towels, if you're up to it. It's a cold night, and we've some extra blankets and velvets and quilts and wrappers and the coziest of comforters up in the attic. There's a few others here who could use an extra bit of warmth tonight, and my hands are full with the laundry and helping with the rest of the chores for the evening. I know you've come a long way, but there's a mug of mulled cider, and I know Cook's happy to throw in a couple of donuts to sweeten the deal. There's a lamb. Meantime, Maine Halfour, meet our latest visitor, safely returned to us from the road. Two kindred hearts, well met tonight.
Doesn't look like much, but I suppose looks can be deceiving.
It's a fool that looks with the eyes when it's the heart that sees what's right. And you're no fool, my dear Halfour. Maine here is the last scion of the ancient line of Halfour, the lupine defenders of the faithful, and the best hired blade in all the Ironwild. A wary sort of fellow.
She's forgetting Prince of Parador and Paladin of Evenstar, but that's about half of it.
Maine, how's that moonbane tincture working? Last couple of months been easier?
Still some major cramping from the transformations, but no more major surprises at work. And thank your laundress again for packing that extra shirt. Nothing worse for a wolf than waking up in the middle of the woods with your shirt shredded.
I'm sure that none of the local village girls agree with you, and I'm glad you're feeling yourself again. Now, you two head up and get us some extra quilting. Halfour, you know the way to the attic. Take our guest with you and grab some of those extra wrappers and blankets. Not sure how dusty it is this week. Here's a couple of good hampers. Send the blankets and such down the dumbwaiter when you found them. And if you see Arlen running about, send her over to get these towels sorted.
As you say, it is done. Well, come along, love. We've stairs to climb. I see you've frequented these halls before. You know them well? Yes, it's odd, is it not? Each time the road brings me back here, it's like I stepped out of one daydream and into another. I know very well that my eyes have never seen these doors, and yet there is something that stirs within me. Lost somewhere, wandering the corridors of my earliest memories, it is never forgotten. No need to be coy. You know exactly what I speak. It's written all over your face. It's good to see a bit of honesty now and again in a masked world. Ah, the elevator. Allow me. Your jacket? A fine one. A good coat, and you wear it well. It has worn through some weathering, but that adds well to the character. A fine costume for your character. You have beautiful eyes. There is something wild and terribly wonderful in them. Well, here we are. After you. Second door on the left. No, the one on the ceiling. That's right. Can't forget to look up in this place. You never know where the door might be. I've got the light right here. Just push up there. Now, it's a left, and the second right down here. And then... That's right. And now the fourth spiral staircase. Yes, I know, it's a bit of a maze to the top. And there we are. That green door. Welcome to the attic. Don't worry. They've got some kind of deal with the spiders to leave the attic alone. I know, it's strange, but hey, no cobwebs. Let me give it a little more light. Not too much, just enough. I come up here sometimes to escape the noise downstairs. No, you can't request it as a bedroom. Sorry, I've tried, but even when you inevitably fall into one of the couches or the pile of cushions with a good blanket and a book, sooner or later, you wake up back in your own room again. Every time. And trust me, I've tested it a few times now. Every night, I try to make my way back into this room, if only in my dreams. The walls have been lined with every book you can imagine since long before I've started coming to this place. And good, they left my favorite blanket fort up from last time. Come on, through here. I did this 3 nights ago, and you're never too old for a good fort. Well, thank you. Toss me a couple of those quilts, will you? We'll stuff these in the hampers right quick, and then send them down the dumbwaiter, across from the bay window. Yes, thank you. These will be a good start. And maybe the comforter from the top of that pile. No, behind the stack of old hat boxes. Yes, perfect. I've got these fleece blankets here. Will you grab that one silk from behind the steamer trunk? Yes, and that plush thing too, why not? What's in the trunk? Anything good? Oh, treasure. Hang on. That looks like the costume box that Mummer's Troop left 3 summers ago. Tried to run out on their tab. Actors. I was here for the show. Put on the worst version of Midsummer you've ever seen. 4 people and a lot of hats. I'll pour the cider while you try one on. Oh no, no one cares. These are all unclaimed things, you know? They're cleaned and cleansed, and then sent up here until someone new claims them. Cycle of stuff, love, cycle of stuff. and when life hands you high-quality velvet, you take it and you wear it with your head held high. Oh, look at you. Here's a mirror. No emperor could wear it better. How about a good hat to go with? Come on now, something tasteful and bizarre and devastating, and hello, here we go. Divine. I bet it's warm too. I'll take the cashmere. What do you think? Is it my color? No, I think I'll skip the suit of armor for now. Thanks, love. Cheers to being cozy on a cold night with a good quilt and unexpected company. Too cozy. Now, before we get carried away, there's a couple more pillows, another one of those feathered things, and enough blankets for an army. I'll close up there, and if you can slide that door open for me... Many thanks. The good wife will be pleased. We could head back to the common room, or perhaps you are tired after your journeys. No hard feelings if this is where we part, love. I've got a leather-bound collection of particularly fascinating essays on the migratory habits of snowshoe hares that caught my eye, and it does grow late. Sleep beckons the best of us to the rest we need, so that we may find our best again tomorrow. As you please. I am honored by your continued company. I'll take this chair by the fire and leave the blanket fort or the window seat or the thousands of other cozy nooks or cushioned crannies to your pleasure. Well chosen. A snug spot for a good story. My sister's husband told me this one and swore every word was true, so you already know it's the biggest lie in Siberia. He would tell it over a bowl of dumplings, steaming hot and served with hearty broth and plenty of fresh dill. One summer, Mr. Fox heard that Amarok, the Nomad Wolf, was courting the eldest daughter from a very respectable family of dogs that lived between the hills by the river. He chuckled to himself at the idea of his rough, curmudgeonly neighbor putting on airs and dressing to impress the girl. And once he had gotten out a good giggle, the fox winked his left eye, and then his right, and put on a shaggy gray fur cloak, boots, and cap. The next morning, when the good dog family was out hunting, he swaggered up to the front gate, doing his best to lope convincingly. "I've come to ask for your hand in marriage," he said with a wolfish grin. "May I come in?" The eldest sister dog had stayed at home to finish chores around the house and was delighted to welcome the Nomad Wolf in, beaming and blushing while she shooed her giggling younger sister behind the door. "You are so beautiful," growled the fox wolfishly, sipping at the rose-hip tea she placed before him. "You have charmed my heart beyond reason and my soul beyond measure. I have 7 herds of fat reindeer. They are all yours if you would but marry me." "Oh, how dashing you are," she sighed, scratching at her ear as her younger sister yelped out in excitement. "And yes, 1,000 times yes, but we hardly know each other. Would you like another mare's blood sausage? They're really good when they're hot." "Yes, please," said the fox, catching one up in his mouth delightedly. "And some of that walrus tartare, thanks. And just a few more bites of that smoked grayling. You are a dear." "Can I take your hat, Mr. Wolf?" asked the young sister, reaching out winningly. "As a very rich man, I cannot remove it, my dear," said the fox, belching loudly and forking a few more of the choicest bits onto his plate. "You see, I must always wear my cap so that folks pay me the proper respect that a person of my wealth is due. It is a heavy burden to wear, especially in a home as warm as yours, but it is one I bear with the humility of great men." Suddenly, the sound of barking could be heard in the distance. "Oh no," thought the fox. "They know my face." He leapt up, upsetting the last tray of sausages. "Alas, my dear," he cried, wrenching the front door open. "All of this barking will scare my herds, and they will scatter far and wide. I must run to protect them. I'll see you soon, my darling. Farewell." And he dashed off down the road as fast as those shaggy boots would take him, the words of love from the beautiful dog trailing after him. Once he rounded the corner, the fox quickly dashed up the hill and loosed some heavy boulders from the very top. Panting, he waited until he saw the rest of the dog family come into view on the main road. With a hideous little cackle, he gave the rocks a mighty shove with his back legs, and they crashed down into the road, crushing the dogs beneath. Then that wicked-hearted little fox strutted back down the lane, knocked calmly upon the door, stepped back inside, and finished his tea, all while charming the sisters with his oily-tongued tales. He assured them that he'd secured his herds quickly away. They were so obedient to his call, and just in time, too. Hadn't they heard that rumble of thunder just off in the distance? And as this day lengthened long into the evening, the sisters remembered the work they had laid aside upon hearing his knock, and laughing, excused themselves to take care of the few tasks that came with a well-run home. As soon as they left the room, that old fox whipped off that big shaggy cloak and quickly filled it with all the morsels it could hold. Indeed, all of the food that the dog family had been carefully storing away for the winter. He hoisted that bulging sack onto his back, winked the right eye and the left, and vanished out into the night air without so much as a word. Morning had come, and now gone, and the sisters had become nearly frantic at the absence of their family. They went into the wide valley to search for them, and only had to travel the next hill over before they found their parents and siblings crushed under cruel rocks. "Who could have done all this?" they wailed over their beloved kin. "Who would seek us such harm?" Finally, in their sorrow, they resolved to go to the house of the Nomad Wolf himself and seek his counsel, for his word was held in high regard by all. He carried the wisdom of the wide tundra in his steady gaze. But Amarok was puzzled. "I never came to your house yesterday." "But surely you remember," cried the eldest sister. "It was such an important afternoon, and, well, I thought you meant it when you asked for my hand." "But, my dear lady," said the Nomad Wolf, blushing furiously, "I have not yet, you see. I was waiting to surprise you next week when my family could come for the engagement feast." "But who came to us yesterday?" cried the eldest sister. "We have no enemies, nor any who would wish us harm." "Sister," said the youngest dog, slowly turning it over in her mind, "what of that little red fox who lives up the hill? The one who is always throwing around compliments and sneaking glances at you?" The elder sister shivered. "He is a brute and a bully, but surely not a murderer." The Nomad Wolf shrugged. "That greasy coward would do anything to get one over on his neighbors. Do you know how many times I've had to put him in his place for stealing from me? I wouldn't put it beneath him." The youngest sister threw another log on the fire, the blaze reflecting the rage in her heart. "Sister, you must follow this plan to the letter so that we can know for sure and honor our family." The next day, blissfully unaware of his discovery, the fox knocked upon the door of the two sisters, once more disguised in his shaggy gray furs of the Nomad Wolf. As the fox drank rosehip tea and exchanged pleasantries with the smiling sisters, Amarok stealthily entered behind him, grabbed the fox, and had him tied up in seconds. "That's right," said the elder sister. "Tie him well and put him in this sack. Perhaps we'll leave him in it forever, out here in the tundra. Or toss it down a hill with more rocks, or I have a better idea. Pile that dry grass and brushwood high, sister. Come, surround the sack with kindling." All the fox could hear was the strike of a match, and then came the roar of unbearable heat and pain. With a shriek, he burst out of the burning sack, the remnants of the gray cloak aflame around him. And since that day, red foxes began to appear out in the tundra with black-tipped tails still scorched from the roasting. The sisters thanked Amarok for his help, and by the end of the week, he had worked up the courage to finally ask the eldest sister out to supper. And, of course, it was not long after that before weddings and children and fortunes were to be had by all. And fame, too, or I wouldn't be sharing this tale with you here and now. The cider's still hot. So, as we snuggle up here in our velvets and cozies with a nice hot cup between us, I think it can be good to look at oneself in the mirror from time to time. Not out of vanity, although why deny yourself the pleasure when you're as good-looking as you are? Cheers. No. Instead, to meet my eye boldly. To let all the other masks go and really look beyond the costumes to ask, "Main Halfour, son of the ancient line of the iron-wheeled Halfours, am I a prince or another beggar blade?" How often do scavengers come into our thoughts to smile and sip and nip away at our best? How often do we allow the cowardice of others to come in disguised as good sense, brought into our homes to dress the part and kill off that which we hold dearest, to raid our winter stores and grasp hungrily at our trusting hearts? It is a puzzle, isn't it? I find that when the puzzle seems too great, when our hearts lie crushed beneath cruel boulders, it can be easy to lose faith. Despair can be so seductive. It has a loud and keening call in the long night. It is then when we must listen for the quiet voice, the true voice that speaks up when things are moving too fast, to remember that anyone who comes into our home takes their hat off with respect, no matter how much boasting they serve at the table. It can be so difficult to hear the quiet voice when we are being wooed by our desires, when we are romanced by winning smiles, and all wishes seem to be just within reach. But when we pay attention to action, we know the truth. The quiet voice reminds us to sniff out deeds instead of words. Who is pouring into your cup rather than draining it? Is your table being shared or devoured? Basic respect exists for good reasons. And so, love, my hat's off to you, out of respect for your own deeds, for listening with an eager ear. But that's enough talk for one evening. When the full moon beckons us to the window, she sings softly, ever with her silver song, promising of the hunt that waits in the woods, calling for me to join in her harmonies with my owls. Oh, look up. Just there. Do you see it? Shooting across the sky? Make a wish with me, here and now. I know, just wish with me. Close your eyes, and it will come true.
You're lucky to catch a glimpse of stars tonight. That wind's scattering every cloud it can catch up to. Still, a wish whisked away on a wild wind upon a shower of meteors may carry some weight with it. Come along, Halfour, you hideous charmer. Time for you to finish your shift in the laundry room, and you can finish flirting with the rest of the staff.
Only if I can keep the cashmere.
Only if you wear the turban with it.
I'll woo Cook away from you one of these days and be one step closer to a dukedom of donuts. It was good meeting you. Enjoy the velvet. And thank you for sharing a wish with a stranger tonight. I look forward to hearing how it's coming together for you when we next meet. May you rise to your tomorrow, unmasked and victorious, a champion of the Evenlight.
All right, Halfour. Not everything's a preamble to a joust. And as for you, stay here as long as you need. There's the fire, good and toasty, and all the books are yours to choose from. There are some particularly nice leather-bound titles just there next to the hammock. It looks as if you've got a drop of cider left to keep the fire going within. Or, if you choose to make your way back to your room, the key always knows the way back to its lock. Are you warm enough? Good. Sleep well, and when you wake, you'll be in your own bed, bright as rain and sure as sugar, with the wishes made in good company, already at work for you. May your wish come find you, right when you need it most, and may your heart rest and be easy, safe from cloaked words, here at the inn at the end of things. Good night. You've been listening to The Inn at the End of Things, an Acorn Arts and Entertainment production. Tonight's tale featured performances by Rodney Rice as main Halfour, Paladin of the Evenlight, and Luna Alexander as the innkeeper. This episode was written by Luna Alexander, with production and technical support from Josie Eli Herman, Michael Allen Herman, and John Tuma. As our evening draws to a close, we'd like to pause here within our Hall of Patrons to thank the many wanderers, voyageurs, and fellow night owls who keep our hearth fires burning long into the night. Whether you're a member of our Patreon community or have donated independently, we salute you and say thanks. We couldn't do it without your support. This week's list of hallowed heroes includes many thanks to Chris Hoffman-Kraske, Ruth Needler, Brian LeDuc, Amanda Logston, Sarah McNitt, Joanna Karina Palaska, Jason Such, Patricia Tuma. May your generosity be returned threefold wherever the road finds you.